Hey guys, welcome to Titanium Tuesdays on Propelio TV. I'm RJ Bates. Today I'm sitting down with Jason and Casey Dehle. We're going to talk about being new in real estate investing and also working as a husband and wife team. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Man,
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So let's just jump right into this. I know, we made the announcement yesterday that you guys were coming on and we were going to talk about this subject, and this is actually the first time I've actually gotten 3 phone calls from people that were like, I'm so excited that you're going to talk about this topic.
Awesome.
And I think one of the people that reached out to me is actually a father and daughter combo. And they were like, hey, I think some of the topic, the same things as being a husband and wife kind of translate over to being a father and daughter combo.
Yeah,
so let's talk about how you guys got your start and kind of how y'all divvy up responsibilities inside y'all's business.
Sure. So, it started just we kind of started thinking about real estate about 2 years ago.
Okay.
We were doing window and siding sales in houses, and that's not her background, but I kind of pulled her in because I thought that she would do really good there. So it's in one call closing,
okay,
in houses every day, 2 or 3 appointments a day, and
were you working for another company or was it your company?
Yeah, so I mean, I had my own LLC and I was contracted, but I was working with another company.
Okay.
So, so it kind of saved on taxes. But so we were doing that, and I'd been doing that for years, and it was a lot of fun. I loved being in homes, and I loved closing people.
Right.
I hit a ceiling though. My closing rate was about 75% for the year.
Oh wow.
Which is really good.
Rare.
I couldn't do any better, really. I mean, some people couldn't afford it or whatever. So I hit a pay ceiling, even though there was really no ceiling, and I just wanted to do better. And I'd found some people who were doing way better than I was. I wanted to do better than $250 a year. And there was really no way, because a house of windows and siding was somewhere, on the highest side, 20 to 40 grand.
Right.
And I was capped. So I met people who are doing remodeling and still like not in-home sales, but kind of construction type sales, kitchens, bathrooms, whatever, in-home remodeling. And they were blowing me away. And so I asked them what they were doing that I was, what was I doing wrong that I couldn't get what they were getting?
Right.
$300,000, $400,000 a year just as salespeople.
Right.
And I explained to them my numbers and everything, and they said, well, you're doing as good as you could do. You're just not selling big enough ticket items. And so, I can't stop thinking bigger. It's just
Right.
kind of who I am. It started, I started in car sales, and it just grew and grew and grew. I always want to do better. And so I thought, man, I go into houses every day, and all these people tell me they're getting ready to move, and that's why they're doing this. So I thought, I just need to sell the whole house. And then over time,
So was Casey working with you at this time?
yeah, we were together. She was killing it too. Once I left, she was the second best closer there. And so that was really good. I left that job last January. So
Okay.
I mean, we're in my
December,
11th, 12th.
I think even.
No, just after that, yeah. So we're in our 12th month right now, I guess. And she stayed there to kind of be the breadwinner while I figured this thing out.
Gotcha.
And that was like 2 years ago. And so we got licensed as realtors because we thought that's what we should do. And then started meeting people, reading more. And
So was your plan initially in real estate to be
A
like
realtor.
a retail
Yeah.
agent?
Just on the
Exactly.
side. I mean, we were already,
like
making
one or
great
two
money.
houses,
Right.
instead of having a $2,000-$3,000, I made 10%.
Right.
That was the net. And so instead of doing that, if I could, double or triple that in one sale, a $200,000 house would be a $6,000 commission.
Right.
That's not bad. And then we found investing, and we started going to meetups and stuff. And I thought, well, if I could take that, you know, a $20,000 sale and do a $200,000 house and keep my 10% net, I go from 2,000 to 20,000 just by
Right.
adding a zero. And so, so that's kind of what got the ball rolling, and then we just got really busy right as soon as I started. I thought, windows are holding me back. I can knock this out.
Right.
And then she came on because I was like, look, I can't do this all by
How
myself.
long was the time gap between?
6 months.
6 months. So that's pretty quick. I mean, it's funny, this story. I mean, it kind of correlates to what me and Cassie did. We had record contracting. We were remodeling. Same thing, man. I
Right.
mean, it was like we were going out and we were selling deals, but it was like we're not making the kind of money that we want. And for us, it was more along the lines of we were making enough money to keep the business afloat.
Right.
And it took us about 4 months from when I kind of left record contracting to when I was like, okay, Cassie, you need to leave record contracting behind,
yeah,
and
4 to
let's
6 months.
focus on this
Yeah.
moving forward. When y'all decided when you started this, was it when you started the investing side of things? Was it wholesaling, flips, rentals? What was the first strategy you kind of jumped into?
So
Funny, actually.
yeah. So it was flipping a bit, but a couple of the first deals that I got was with the Odd Brothers. Like I was friends with them before
Okay.
they partnered up.
Odd Brothers are Tang and Eric Kane
And Fred was with them.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I love those guys. Have a lot of respect for them. They're great, and they kind of helped me through the first deal or two. And we're working on a deal right now.
How'd you meet them?
We were in a kind of a group together.
Dallas RIA. Just a
DFW
base.
RIA.
So a meetup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
one of the local meetups.
So you guys, knowing nothing, started going to these meetups. You meet somebody, and that enabled you to do your first couple of deals.
Yeah, totally.
it was everything. The network right out the gate was
I tried to do
everything.
it on my own without the network, and it just flopped.
Subtle plug for meetups, February 12th. Propelio has a really good one named Grapevine.
Best.
Yes, absolutely. But what's funny about, honestly, like really how it got started, because we had a huge database of our customers. He had been doing it for several years. I was in it for a couple of years, so we had hundreds. So we just dropped a voicemail,
Nice.
actually an RVM,
Right.
and basically said, hey, Jason's no longer with you, but Casey's going to be taking over all of your accounts. But we made sure to mention he's buying houses and in real estate.
Nice.
And actually, one of them called us back and happened to have a house that they were flipping, but it was like down to the studs. They've had it for 4 years, and that was just how we kind of fell into flipping because
Yeah.
it was such a great deal.
So, okay, you get that. You said the Odd Brothers kind of helped you out with that.
Well,
Not that one.
Yeah,
It was one
that was
before.
our first. My first one was door knocking with Eric Kane.
Okay.
And we went up to this girl's house, and she was going to sell to an investor the next day, and so I was like, well, there's no contract right now, so if we make you an offer that you're cool with, would you be willing to work with us? And so we
Right.
talked, and she said yeah. So we got a contract that day, and we worked together. They got it sub 2 and then wholesaled it to somebody. They work it with a hedge fund or something like that.
Did they show you how to actually structure the subject to? Or did you
no.
already know that?
No, I didn't know that. I was this was Tang came in after, because I was
Gotcha.
with Eric Kane, and then Tang came in afterwards and helped basically disposition the deal.
Gotcha.
This was, they weren't even Odd Brothers at that time, so they were just kind of partnering and
Gotcha.
whatever. And so that was a quick little wholesale that I was just part of. And they really proved their integrity there because it wasn't a JV agreement, nothing like
Right.
that. And so, there's a couple times where it's like, man, I could get burned here. Let's see what this person
Right.
does. Sometimes they burn, sometimes they're the Odd Brothers.
Right.
So they were great. And then the next, we started flipping after that because it's like, that's what you see, that's what you think about. And I was getting houses at, half of what they're worth or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's like the margins are there. But what I quickly and painfully learned is that flipping's just a headache,
Yep.
especially when you're as ignorant as we were. And it's like, man, you're trying to manage contractors, and we had a house in Fort Worth and one in Garland that was well taken care of, and in Grand Prairie and Dallas and Denton. And so it was like, you can't drive to them. I was one guy, and if we were managing all those, then we couldn't go out and do what was actually making us money.
Right.
So we cut down on flipping a ton, and right now we're not doing any, and we're just focusing on wholesaling. One of the biggest mistakes I think we made, which really hindered us this year, was flipping right out of the gate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Brittany Washington, she has a great statement here. She says, your network is your net worth. Closed mouths don't get fed. Way to use your database to make the switch.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
it is awesome because everything you're telling me here is about how you utilized going to these RIAs without really knowing anything about the business, and that's what enabled you to get into all these flips. I mean, so often you hear people complain about, I don't have any leads, I can't find any good deals.
Yeah.
Y'all had the opposite problem. You had too many deals, and
Yeah.
that kind of hindered you, which is something I don't think many people talk about. And I
Right.
mean, it's something
Yeah.
that we are currently struggling with. I mean, I think so often people have this, like, this idea that, you know, Cassie and RJ at Titanium Investments, oh, they're crushing it, they don't have any problems. No, we have problems. We have problems like multiplied by 20. You know,
you've
it's
been
like
transparent
we have
about
way
that.
too many, you know, jobs going on, and it's a problem.
They
And
call those good problems.
they are good problems. At the end of the day, I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm like,
Yeah.
when we make it through this is going to be amazing. But it's getting through that and surviving through that, you know? So what was kind of y'all's threshold when you, what do you wish you would have stopped at as far as amount of projects?
Honestly, probably one or two tops.
Right.
You know,
As
and
a two-person team, at least.
yeah,
And
with two
closer
people.
locations together, right?
Right. Yeah, that it was so, because we were knocking. We were doing a lot of knocking then, and it's just wherever the deal came up,
Right.
and it's just a good deal. And so I didn't, you know, there wasn't a coach or anybody saying, "Hey, you're getting spread out. It's great right now, but you're going to end up hurting yourself." Just wholesale that to somebody who's going to pay top dollar for it, and they can manage the rehab and everything themselves.
So my buddy Todd Fleming, he wrote his second book, If You Can't Cash Flow at This, I Got Nothing For You.
Yeah.
And he has an analogy in there about when you go buy a rental property, and say it's your first one, put yourself in your shoes and say, how would I structure this deal, and how would I manage this deal if I had 50 of them? And I think that's an amazing way to really break this down in all of your business. And it's like, if I buy this flip, how am I going to manage 2, 3, 4, 5 of these flips? And there's been times where we've had a flip in South Dallas, North Dallas, Fort Worth, Denton, Mesquite, and it's like, I mean, there's days where, you know, RJ and Cassie are needed at 2 of those properties, and
Right.
it's like our entire day is shot
Yeah.
because we have to go to 2 properties.
You have to drive. It's 40 minutes everywhere.
Right.
You know. It's
Right.
Yeah.
Now I can't do anything else.
And
Absolutely.
I think the biggest lesson for us too getting started is, and for me anyway, when he got me into this, was realizing how much you have to know. Like you have to, we were talking about the other day, you have to be the accountant, you have to be the marketing, you have to
Yep.
be the contractor, you have to literally do it all, which is why after 6 months he was drowning with that many deals off
Absolutely.
the gate.
Oh yeah, it was by
So,
myself.
you know, he was really good at marketing and closing, too good, apparently, because he was like, well, now what? You know?
Right.
And then paperwork and title and dispositions is like a whole nother ball game. And I think people don't always understand that when they get
Yep.
into it. And you have to ask yourself the question. And I asked him this very early on. Are we building a business or are we doing a hobby?
Right.
Because it's going to look really different on where we put our energy and focus into. Are we just going to go out and when we get the deal, just turn it for cash, or do we have to systematize this? And like you said,
Yep.
if we had 5 of these, then what? So you have to kind of ask yourself if you're pulling back or like leaning in to the business you're creating. So
Yep.
you have to ask yourself that question. A lot of people don't.
Yeah, Cassie just wrote, truly so much of being an entrepreneur is just how well you respond to your challenges in the business. I think that's a great point. But for you guys specifically, how do y'all delegate who handles what in your business? As a husband and a wife, I mean, is that something y'all discussed? Do y'all
Yeah.
try to do everything
Very
together?
much so.
Or is it,
We're different personalities.
Completely different.
So she came from like she was a data analyst before we met.
Okay.
And so she has an ability to focus on one task for a long time and just knock it out. Paperwork and all that stuff is kind of nothing for her. Me, I'm chasing squirrels and everything else, but you know, I'm more of like I'm the bigger thinker.
Right.
How to create the systems, how to when it comes to the sales side and the marketing side, like the nuanced words that we use and the marketing pieces and stuff like that, and all of that, like where are we going, what are we doing, how are we going to reach people, whatever. And so I'm the bigger thinker, and I like being with people and closing the deals. And so I'm kind of the visionary, and I'll do acquisitions now, and then basically pass it on over to her. She does acquisitions too, and I'll have to do paperwork as well.
Right.
But there's a gray area in the middle there.
Right.
But the bulk of it is her. When it comes to all that back end stuff and like detailed stuff, that's completely.
Are y'all wholesaling a lot now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you handle dispositions?
Yeah, I kind of handle, what's funny about this is when we started, I mean, in a sense I do, but we kind of tag team that one at the moment, because I always say it's easier to take a small ship and rotate it than to take a really big one. So we've taken a lot of time. When we first started, keep in mind, we came from the same job. We were both closers.
Right.
And we were both really good at it. And there's deals I could close that he couldn't close. And there were deals he could close that I couldn't close. And we used to come home and literally just talk out the objections of that day. I mean, it was life for us. That's
Right.
all we did. And so it became second nature. So when we joined, he's like, you're good. You have to get on the door. So we tried to market at the same pace. And then we realized once you have the deals, then I'm taken out of the equation.
Yep.
And I'm doing all of this stuff. And then I went crazy because now my plate got super heavy.
Right.
Because it's a lot of work on that back end.
Absolutely.
And so I realized that I needed to free him up to do what he did best. And that's when we started asking ourselves. And something to note is we've only been married for 3 years. So along with learning each other and like taking something on like this, we had to sit down, and we did. Guys, we do worksheets, okay? We do the work. And we sit down and really try to dig in to understand each other, because if you don't understand what he's good at, I'm good at, and what somebody wants to do and somebody else doesn't want to do, you start to really butt heads on trying to do the same thing a different way.
So, okay, you said something there about it's easier to steer a small boat than a large ship, right?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming what you mean by that is like where y'all are in your company right now, you're making adjustments to prepare for when you become the large ship, right?
Constantly.
Yeah.
So I, the way I've always told people, and I've done this from our experience of not doing things correctly. And I think a lot of TJ talked about that a lot last week, where he was like, my path is not the correct path, so don't follow mine. I'm going to teach you all the mistakes. For us, we were so gung-ho on go, get the deals, make money, increase year-over-year revenue, and we didn't really set up the processes and the systems for like, what are we, in year one, where do we want our business and how do we want it to function in year 5? So are y'all kind of doing that and preparing for where you want to be in the future?
Yes.
Yeah, through mistakes though. Because we were stacking deals at first, and then it's like, okay, now we can't do any more deals because we got to fix all this junk, that we created. Not junk. It was good. It was good stuff.
It's gold junk,
and I love mistakes. I love failing a little bit. I mean, you don't really fail if you don't quit, but the errors and whatever, that's where you just kind of learn like where you have to adjust. If it went well, then you'd never really learn anything.
Right.
We had an exercise where if we were really, like if something went really bad, and we would sit there, and if we started getting negative, I'd be like, all right, let's pull back. What did we learn from this? Let's like switch it on its head. And that became kind of our mantra. It's like, okay, we're not going to go down that road of self-deprecation,
Right.
So it's really solidified just kind of over time, like what we're both really good at. And now we've kind of got those roles separated, and now we're building a team that can help her with some of the back end stuff. Come
on, director. Silence your phones.
It's just kind of flushed itself out in that way.
Gotcha.
Like just over time, who we are and who we should be has just kind of come forward through the trials and the errors,
Gotcha.
which has been really nice, honestly.
And letting each other do what they do well. Like, I had to get to a point where it's like, yeah, I love clothing, but I had to just take the shit, you know? Like, I just had to do it because he just is gonna, like, not be able to do really what he does the best because he is better at it than me. So it's like allowing him to be his best is a huge part as a partner.
Gotcha.
And I have to just understand that it's for the good.
So y'all have talked a little bit about the struggles that you had on, like, the real estate side of things.
Yeah.
Have you had struggles as husband and wife working together? Because I know partners in general sometimes have those struggles. And when things aren't going right, do y'all have moments where it's kind of difficult?
I would only say, not really as partners, because I think we're both, I mean, that's one of our strengths,
I feel
honestly.
like this has almost saved our marriage. It sounds counterintuitive, but we work really, really well together. And
Honestly.
the reason being is I was not on the same level of mindset when we first started. It was a really tough move for me to get into to understand his, like, constant drive.
Right.
Because I just came from a different background completely. I kind of had worked for myself and worked for other people, but at first I was like, why won't this guy relax? Like, come on, like, take me to dinner, you know? And he's just like, no, gotta do stuff, I love you, but gotta do stuff. And it was hard for me to understand that for a long time.
Right.
Until my safety net was taken out. And then I was able to really adjust. But he because he's a really good leader, read this book. I found this interesting. You know, a lot of husbands, I think, tend to keep it to themselves, or it's their thing.
Yep.
You do your thing, I do mine. The best thing you can do is bring someone in. Say, hey, I think you have a skill set, Casey, that would do really well here. And so, in a way, we were able to build each other up through our business, and it just translated into our marriage.
It's interesting.
There's been stressful times.
For
like,
sure.
Like October, I don't even know if we
October
got
was
a
really
deal.
rough.
I mean, but it's like, but I've always been kind of commission or no, you know, whatever.
Right.
So for me, it's like, but I know something's going to happen if we just keep working.
Right.
That's like, she'll probably get more stressed out about that. Like, we have nothing in the pipeline, but then, you know, you get like a $15,000, $20,000 deal or whatever, and it's like,
You can breathe again.
all it takes is one deal, and you can close it quick, and it's gonna be all right.
Right.
So I don't really have that fear. So I guess I'm probably more of like the stable, secure. Like, let's just keep going.
It
it's
is
gonna
helpful.
be okay.
It is helpful.
I don't go into panic mode really, but I think also kind of one of the things about it is. Growing up, my mom was a single mom for quite a while, and she worked 3 jobs, so I was always with my grandmother. And then when she remarried, my dad was in college, and then he worked a lot too. So I was kind of without parents for a long time, and I always thought, like, as a kid, and this is probably what really did it for me and set me on this whole trajectory, but that, you know, 2 people should both be able to work 20 hours and live on a full-time income. And so I just wanted to be, I never wanted to be the husband or father or whatever that was gone 50, 60, 70 hours a week. I wanted to be there with family because I didn't really have that.
Gotcha.
And so I think that's kind of why, I mean, and fortunately she's gifted in this area. Not all wives care, want to do this, whatever, but she has the same vision. And so since we have the same vision, we can just, I think life is just done better together. We aren't meant to be apart all this time.
Well, I think Matt Smith has a question here. He says, do you have any resources you recommend for creating a solid business plan? And going back to what you were just talking about, y'all have the same vision. Is that something that y'all kind of put down on paper and discussed when you got started? Or when did that become, how did y'all discuss your vision for this company?
That's a hard one because I think we were just reactionary at first for several months.
Right.
It didn't get to that place where we pulled back a little bit, and honestly, we actually never sat down and really asked our why question that we all talk about.
Right.
Really understanding what's going to get you through the stressful times, until recently. You know, shout out to Mitzi Diane for sending us a little worksheet.
Yeah,
and we did that in the car over Christmas. And
That's
we
cool.
kind of had a sense we were on the same page, but it was really nice to nail it down.
Yep.
And then in terms of the building of the systems, that really didn't come until the last probably 3 months, roughly.
Matt Monero's book.
Matt Monero's book was really a great way to envision, like, if you haven't read Matt Monero, You Need More Money, do.
Yep.
It's
Have you read it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like
really
the idea, like
we did the
start
core
with,
values and all that stuff.
yeah, we laid out core values. A lot of people miss that step. If you're not operating under the same core values, then, what are you doing? What's
And
he
some of
doing,
this,
she's doing?
like, I think a lot of people discredit what you're talking about. Like, some people might be looking at this and be like, what are you talking about? Your husband and wife, like, core values. Well, I mean, it's just assumed that y'all would have the same core values. And then there's times where you actually sit down and realize, like, one thing's more important to you than it is to her.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
you have to, like, kind of find that common ground on what you actually want to accomplish. And so this is not only for husband and wives, but this is just for any partners, for father-daughter combos, or father-son, or mother-son, or whatever combo it is. It's very important that you actually talk about these things.
Define them.
Yeah, because I mean, you can go, as an entrepreneur, you can go for years, and all of a sudden one day it's like one person explodes because they're like, this is not what I wanted with my
Yeah.
life. Like, this is not what I wanted for my business.
And
you
that's
know?
the core of your business strategy.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
other stuff of how to build a system or how much money you should have, on all that stuff, all that depends on your strategies. But if you don't have that core, we literally have them. You guys are gonna laugh at us. We have them printed on a piece of paper. There's 5 of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
On
multiple
our
places.
mirror, on our door of our office, and we look over it and just remember, how to do that.
Marsha
stuff. So-
Coleman just
Marsha.
dropped a amazing question here. And shout out to Jay Coleman. He was on yesterday's show with Daniel Moore. It was great.
Yep.
If you
Yeah.
haven't
Love
checked
him.
it out, check it out. Marsha says, love you guys. How do you handle when you are aligned on the goal, but not on the steps on how to get there?
That's a good question.
That is a very good
Hey,
question.
Marsha.
So I think we
That's a good one.
So that kind of falls a little bit more in my realm, and I'm like I kind of think about the errors in my own thinking, and I try to like find flaws in what I'm thinking.
Right.
And so before anybody else can, I kind of attack my own thoughts and find inefficiencies and whatever. And so in general, I think that's what's really great is that Casey trusts me a lot in that area. And if we have the same goal, of course, I mean, we talk about it, but if I'm like, well, I think we should do this, this, and this, and I have my whys behind them, then Casey's pretty good about, and there's times where she'll correct me and she'll be like, well, what are you thinking? That's way too big, or
Right.
way too out
I
there.
like to poke
And then
holes in things. Like
Right.
I'm a person that finds holes, gaps. I probably get that from my father, who, was an investigator. But I just kind of I had to take time and recognize and list out the strengths of my own husband and my partner. I've thought about this. I'll sit down and literally list it out, and then I think, okay, I do have to trust him to do that, and so I let him just run wild, which is scary sometimes because he'll create something really grand, and I'm sitting there going, operationally, I don't even know what that looks like. And so he also has to come in and justify that to me,
Yeah.
and he does that courtesy to me. He's not just saying trust me. He goes, okay, well, here's how I see it. It allows me the opportunity to sit and kind of poke the holes. And then if we disagree on something, then we'll either split test it or we'll just give it a go.
I think that's a great point, to split test it. But again, if there's a disagreement on how you're going to get to the end goal, it needs to not be based on feelings, emotions,
Yes.
or who's right or who's wrong.
Right.
It needs to be based on facts. And you can sit there and pretty much anything in these businesses, you can break it down and really dive into whatever the goal is that you're trying to accomplish, whether it be a revenue goal, a passive income goal, deals, marketing, whatever it is. There's enough facts out there, and there's enough resources where you can really break it down and figure it out. And if there is a disagreement and you can't, and you feel like you're both right, there is a possibility that if the facts point to it, that you might both be right. And then at that point in time, that's where you make a decision on what's best for your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, we're going to take a quick break, go to commercial. Thank everybody for watching, and please drop your questions in there. That's what we're here for, is to give you some great content and answer your questions. And we'll be right back after these commercials. Hey guys, welcome back to Titanium Tuesdays. Appreciate you guys for tuning in today. If you have not already, please make sure that you subscribe to the feed on YouTube and on Facebook. We do this every day of the week, and we drop some great content on here, great shows. So please make sure you subscribe. Jumping into some more questions that we have a question here from Astrid. Would it be more profitable to hire a manager to oversee, or is wholesale the best strategy? So I guess they're talking about a manager to oversee your rehabs, or is wholesale the best strategy for y'all?
I see.
Well, yeah, that just depends on where you are in the business. I like Matt Monero's book was really eye-opening, and so I'd say it depends on how much money you have, because flipping is the sexiest thing, and it's all what's popular and everything, but it's also the riskiest, the longest, one of the longest turnarounds. You can get really, just stuff comes up. You can find out you have cast iron plumbing that all needs to be replaced, and if you didn't buy it right, you can, it's just risky. So I would say, it would be great to hire a project manager, but I would say you need enough in your bank account before you start going that direction.
And I think you get caught in the trap too of saying, well, you get tempted by the flip.
Yep.
You get tempted by that bigger chunk at the end. So what we did is we sat down and said, well, what's our bigger goal, like our 5-year plan? We want to get into less transactions, bigger rewards. So what does that mean for this stage, that we are? So for us, it was just stacking cash. We had a couple deals where stuff was tied up. So we have partnered on deals where we give it 100% to a manager, GC partner. And it was wonderful. No problem. That deal was just tucked away.
So let's talk about that. You're talking about your JVing with what I would assume would be a more experienced rehabber
Yes.
who's going to basically oversee the entire, and y'all's role in that was to bring the deal.
Correct.
to the table.
Yeah.
And that was it.
And then how did you break it down? Is it just a JV agreement, and is that a 50-50 split?
On that one, it was.
I don't even, going back to the core values, we're only working with people that we really trust.
Yep.
Like I want to be able to do a handshake and know that neither one of us are going to burn each other. That was one of those deals. I think both of our names may have been on the contract.
Right.
Possibly, I can't recall, but I don't know that we did a JV agreement, or we did one really late into it.
When you do something like that, how do you break down the funding on that? Are you taking out like a hard money loan or private money?
Private.
That one was just a lucky
That was
deal. That was a
owner
sub
finance. Yeah, it was an owner finance, and then we got private money to fund the rehab.
Gotcha.
Right.
So-
And that was kind of all in a little bit of a network. So that was a big
That was a network
partnership
thing
of
too,
trust.
yeah.
So we have done deals where we've done the flip and we've just had somebody manage, like a GC. But it took a lot of our time. We had to be on top of it still. We still had to check on things. So I think it still spread us thin, even having a manager. So again, it just depends.
So we have a comment from a lady from the Iron Hills, Miss Thompson. She says, hashtag family first. It's important to be on the same page when you're so driven in business. So yes,
Yeah.
I think that it's it can be almost detrimental to your personal lives when you're so driven in business, and if you're not aligned with your partner on that, it can be a huge problem. And I speak from experience because I have so many partners across the country, and there are times where there's frustration between me and a specific partner if we're not aligned on what we want to accomplish.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we do is we focus on heavy communication where we have weekly meetings. We utilize Google Hangouts or Google Meet where we're face to face. So even if they're in Alaska or Hawaii or Arizona, we see each other. Reading their body language and how they respond to the different things we're talking about. It's very important. And for you guys, it's even almost more important because if there's a fallout in the business, that carries over to your marriage.
Of
you
course,
know?
yeah.
So
well, something that we did spend a lot of time on, and it's a great tool for anyone out there, is read like the Perfect Day formula like the 12-week year, those types of things where you're learning how to manage your time, because I think that's a big thing in couples or family. Like, family, it's important. You want to spend time with them. And the things that you do together, like, we like to have meetings together. We talk real estate 24/7. We enjoy it. It just works for us, but we can still have it over a nice dinner. You know, but if you can get a calendar in both, fill in what's important to you in your week, the most important, and kind of say, okay, I'll give you that time to go do that. This is where we can have a date night, etc. And then fill it in with the work stuff. You get that. I don't call it balance because nothing's ever balanced in real estate, but yeah, you can kind of get on tune and kind of merge the lives together. Exactly.
So I know a couple, like transitioning to another topic that's very important for you guys and y'all's business is the community that you have around you. Y'all do a couple things that I find are pretty cool and admirable. You're in the 5 a.m. wake up club.
5 a.m. club.
We both have 5 a.m.
We
Oh,
both
you
do.
have it as well?
Yeah.
I guess
Although-
that's only fair. I mean, if she's waking up, I mean,
It was his idea, actually. So I thought, I mean, I've never been a morning person. Everyone uses that excuse. It's BS. Get it out of your mouth. It's just about discipline and figuring out what you want time for. So we both have 5 a.m. clubs, although he keeps getting up earlier and earlier.
Yeah, ours
and
is more
earlier.
like 4:30 now.
Okay, so how does it work? But break it down for the people that don't do it. How does it work?
So there's this guy Travis I saw that kind of started it. He's in Colorado or something, and I always wanted to wake up that early, and so we probably 7 months ago, something like that. I just posted on Facebook that I wanted to start a group of guys to hold each other accountable, and it was kind of a no BS thing. I mean, people go quick, and now there's everybody wants to wake up at 5 a.m. until you're waking up at 5 a.m.
Oh yeah, they drop like flies.
Right.
And so we got it down to a pretty tight group of guys now who are really impressive, and I'm glad to have met them as well. But if you don't post, we're in GroupMe,
Okay.
and you have to post by 5 a.m. or so, 5:05, whatever,
Right.
that you're awake. And if you don't post that you're awake, we call you. And if you miss the call, then that's like a fail for the day. But you, at the end of the month, we tally all the days that are missed, and we donate to City House, which is a homeless children's shelter.
Nice.
In Plano.
Yep,
You
in
know,
Plano.
if you're going to be comfy in your bed, you give to those who don't have them.
Yeah, so that's the basis of 5 a.m. Club.
And that y'all's are the same.
It's
They're-
about the
they're-
same rules.
yeah.
Us girls, we're a little bit smaller of a group. You know, we had several people kind of coming and going, and I felt like mom because I was constantly, calling and checking in. So I think this last round, I told everyone, I said, hey, if you want to be in this club, you need to donate right now because they kind of kept missing and there was always excuses or something. And I said, and I don't want to look at it as a punishment, right? Accountability shouldn't be punishment
Right.
because then you're not really doing it for the right reasons. It's like out of fear of punishment versus really being motivated or disciplined to do it. So for my girls, I say, hey, listen, be accountable to yourselves. We're all here. And if you guys want to check in, we'll kind of hold each other accountable to goals and other things as well. But everybody's been waking up at 5 a.m., so they've been a lot better.
Okay, so real quick, we've got a couple questions I want to get to, but wrap this up. What is the point in waking up at 5 o'clock?
Honestly, the point, I'm going to say the point is because you wake up in your day in real estate and your phone is ringing and you have fires to put out and everything is chaotic and you
react.
feel like you're reacting to your day.
Yeah.
If you get up earlier, you're in control for a few hours. You can get in all the things that energize you, like eating well, going to the gym, read. I don't care color. It doesn't matter. But feel like you're in control of your time to get the things that are necessary, and then you're proactive on your day, and you don't feel like a crazy person.
Gotcha.
All
I feel
day.
like my son and daughter, they have me in like the 2 a.m. and the 3
Yeah, I
a.m.
know, it's
wake
hard.
up club.
Oh yeah.
It's hard
And
with kids.
so 5 a.m. to me is kind of like, no, this is nap time.
Nap time. And that's
I've
okay
already-
too,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Well, as
so-
long as you got your quiet time or whatever, all the guys have said it's helped them improve their lives because they're
Right.
like, I've never missed the gym since we did this.
That's awesome.
I'm reading more, and it's like I'm planning my day, and it's not you're not waking up at 8, getting showered, going to work, and then it's all just reaction. You have no real time to think.
Right.
Yeah.
So another thing that you guys do are the Sunday night dinners.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So is that something you guys started?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the purpose behind that?
Well, That was because, well, we really feel like just people don't have friends now.
Right.
You know, everything is social media, and
Not all of us are Ryan Harper.
but it's like we really kind of try to not talk about work there, but it's not. It's like the guy who cuts my hair, the guy from the gas station. It's like people in our lives. And I would encourage other people to just do this where they are too, but just invite people in and let it not be about work or posterity and stuff like that.
Right.
It's to get to know people for who they are, where they are, not what they have, and whatever. So it's just it's just a place for people to meet people and develop deeper relationships. And so that was kind of our.
So we don't talk deals.
Yeah,
That's a no-no.
Try not to.
It's so funny you bring that up because I have some buddies of mine that we get together and we play like nerdy board games.
Yeah.
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 We're actually like developing a board game that we're going to try to
Oh,
like
that
sell.
doesn't surprise me.
I know, but two of them they have jobs. One's a teacher, one's a psychologist, and another one is he's an entrepreneur, but he flips businesses essentially.
Okay.
So it's a little bit slower rolling business. So his
Yeah.
isn't always changing like mine. And when we would go to play these games, they would always want to ask me about work. And finally, I had to have a talk with them. I was like, "Hey guys, like this is my escape. Like,
Yeah.
I know y'all want to ask me, and y'all think it's like something I want to talk about, but really, this is like the only time I don't have to think about
Yeah.
titanium.
Yeah.
I really just want to think about these Dominion cards I
Yeah.
have,
Focus
and how I'm
on
going to beat
beating
you
y'all.
in this
Yeah.
game.
I just want to win.
You just let me forget about it. Like I don't want to worry
Yeah.
about it. So.
Well, we come up with questions that we make everyone
Oh,
wear.
that's right.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
so
Yeah.
you focus on asking each other those questions, and it really we're pretty good at it. We
Yeah,
have
it's
our
like
moments. but-
funny questions. It's because nobody knows each other.
Yeah.
Well, they
And
didn't
so
used
it's
to.
like, yeah, or so now it's weird. It's like now you see these people commenting, and it's like the single mom who makes nail polish, and and the guy that goes to like the hardcore metal club or like Friends now. And so it's, but the questions are philosophical or funny,
More
whatever.
about your life.
Yeah, just like what was your favorite moment as a child, stuff like that, and it's just to kind of bring out develop
At the
relationships.
end of the day, it's all about developing those relationships and having a community that surrounds you. So that's
Yeah.
awesome that you guys have kind of got that in two different aspects of your life. So our good friend Kelly Smith has a question. She says, my husband and I are taking the beginning steps to investing together. First step, what do you recommend? We're married almost 2 years, so still a new marriage. I'm having to teach him about our industry.
We learned together, so that's a little different.
Yeah. Well,
Well, not necessarily. I mean, you have to think about where Kelly's coming from.
Yeah.
And for y'all that don't know Kelly Smith, she's with Easy Street Capital. She's been a hard money lender.
Yeah.
Investing is a whole nother thing.
That's
I mean,
true.
imagine if you went and tried to do her job. I mean,
No,
yeah,
I would
you
fail, Kelly.
you
I would
understand what hard money is, but to do her job,
Everybody
would be
gets all the
extremely
money.
hard.
she's crazy good.
So
and
I think
very well
she
known.
is kind of. I think she
Yeah.
needs to take the aspect of she's learning with her husband just as much as he is.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, just my 2 cents, and maybe you might think differently. I would say, like, learn the strategies together, like, and figure out what you want to do together. So make sure you're on the same, like, financial goal page there, because that's something we didn't take a lot of time with at the beginning.
Just started flipping.
Just kind of started going. So I think that it gives you the opportunity to learn all the different ways together and to spend your free time together learning, which I just think is great for a couple anyway.
Yep.
Getting those core values down, 5 to 6 core values, and then I think that would be the first step.
And really learn, like, talk about what your end goal is.
Yeah.
Your husband has a job, you have a good career with Easy Street Capital. Really tap into, is it we want to create additional income, where if it's just creating additional income, I think that would be wholesaling.
Right. Or long-term.
Or if it's long-term passive income, then focus on a very niche area that you want to buy rental properties, and then tap into your network of wholesalers that can bring you those deals, so you're not having to add overhead for the marketing
Yes.
yourself.
Yes, big time.
Those would be some of the first things that I would think about. And for Kelly specifically, you have one of the greatest resources that I know in Casey Denton, who is the owner or one of the managing partners of Easy Street Capital. I mean, he's done like 400 flips in California and in Austin. So a great resource right there that you can tap into.
I also say, like, I'm a big advocate of counseling for marriage. Like, no matter where you're at, honestly, if you're good,
Oh yeah, we do
if
that regularly.
if it's bad, whatever. I still say, I mean, there's gonna be stuff where you just need an outside third party that's unbiased to kind of help step in and help you like work through, because there's gonna be disagreements and whatever. So I'm just a big fan of like encouraging somebody who's wise and has worked through problems with other people that you're not going to discuss with your friends or whatever. But just helping, I'd say do that too before the problems arrive. So
add counseling into your schedule.
Yeah.
So I think we've got another question. Well, no, I misread that. I'm sorry. I saw Brittany Washington saying she loves how y'all are sitting next to each other, but she's actually referring to Ryan and Cassie, not y'all.
In the background.
That's funny. So anyways, so for you guys, what are kind of y'all's goals moving forward? What do y'all want to accomplish in y'all's business? Have y'all decided that flipping is not what y'all want to pursue and it's more
we might cherry
on the
pick.
wholesaling side of things?
Yeah, that's right. We'll cherry pick the flips.
Well, we reorganized the way we think about our stints of goals. So a lot of people think in 1 year, we think in 12-week stints now. So we do 12-week years now.
Okay.
So we've kind of broken it down into the first 12 weeks, second 12 weeks, third 12 weeks. And so for where we're at, we decided we just need to stack a lot of cash, take care of some, student loan stuff, which we all know and love, and kind of get ourselves into a more leveraged position, and then hopefully go into
commercial
multifamily, bigger, as Will Crozier always says, less transactional risk and just kind of bigger deals where we can partner a lot better and kind of be part of that community.
Right.
I like that. So Brittany Washington says she's thinking about starting a wine at 5 p.m. club. Who's in?
She's my counter to my 5 a.m. She's always like, I'm ready with the wine,
But she's in it. She's like, she's
Brittany
on top
just
of it.
joined and she's been rocking it. So
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you're never shy of a wine event somewhere in real estate. So
Yeah,
hey.
That's true.
I'm not big on the wine, so I don't think I'll be joining that. But the 5 a.m. club, I'm interested in potentially looking into something like that just because I think the freedom of the time.
Yeah.
But my biggest concern personally for me is how much my life is impacted on the West Coast
That's
in
true.
Alaska and Hawaii. So I almost need like a 2 a.m. club where
people say, I got challenged once, why 5 a.m.? I'm most productive at night. That's great. Whatever it is you need. For me, I just needed that. I needed that structure and that time. I admit we don't have kids. So if you do have kids, I understand, waking up at 2, 3, 4, maybe your quiet time is just blocking something out or making sure you go to bed a lot earlier so you can get up.
I actually just think it's funny because I think it's just a lot of us, we start waking up a lot earlier and we like proclaim like we're making this massive change. It's just we're getting older.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like I wake up now.
I go to bed at 9.
Right, exactly.
It's like,
Well, nothing's changed. We're just getting old. So anyways, we're going to jump to another commercial break. We'd love to answer some more questions that you guys have, and we'll be right back after these commercials. Hey guys, welcome back to Titanium Tuesdays. We appreciate everybody joining in this morning. I know everybody's got a lot going on in their business, but love for you to drop a comment. Tell us, ask any questions that you have for Jason and Casey. That's what we're here for, is to help you guys out in your business. Also, for everybody that doesn't realize why you're here and what we're doing, this is all because of Propelio. And if you have not checked out Propelio.com and what they offer to real estate investors besides this free content, but they have the ability to pull CMAs in different markets across the country, lead lists, investor websites, among many other things. So please check out Propelio.com. And then also, if you're local to DFW, We have February 12th. We have the meetup. We're going to have some big time speakers there. Sean Whalen. And then also we're going to have an amazing MC with a just epic beard. He's going to be there. And then also, am I allowed to drop Phoenix?
Yeah, February 6th.
Oh.
February 6th,
7th, 8th.
7th and 8th, Propelio is going to be in Phoenix, Arizona. We're going to have some meetups. We're going to have some masterminds. We're going to have some free education in the desert. And my partner, Jeremy Dimmers, he doesn't even know this yet, but he's going to teach a class on appraisals at that event. So check us out in Phoenix, Arizona. So coming back, I think we've got a couple questions here when Ryan decides to get his life in order. Cassie says the community and starting your day out the way, though, is having a routine in the morning where you aren't rushed.
Yes.
Yes,
That's big for me.
I think that's a huge thing, and for us, we always are so go go go, and I've really noticed it recently. I'm not the 5 a.m., but I have been getting up at 6 a.m. My son just started kindergarten, and so he has to be there 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And if you've ever tried to wrangle a 5-6-year-old to get anywhere, get dressed and eat breakfast and all that.
Sometimes it's like Jason. I have to wrangle Jason sometimes, you know?
I mean, it takes a couple hours to get him out the door and to school on time. And so I wake up a lot earlier now. And I do find that it's so nice to have just that freedom where my phone literally, I mean, it blows up 24/7. Like when I leave this interview here, I'll probably have like 75 emails, like 100 notifications on Facebook. It's like, and I have this problem with like keeping up with the notifications. And so yes, it's this like silence in the morning of like, you don't have anything bothering you.
I go to the car wash sometimes just to get 5 minutes. You know, like no one's gonna bother me. But yeah, it's everything. Just taking time to reset. I think on that note, something that is important, it's like we all get into this for that freedom aspect, right? We all want freedom. And one thing we quickly realized is like if we aren't taking control of shaping our day and our weeks and our months, then what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, we all know that there's a lot to do at first, but you have to let go of that control to get that freedom too, and that's just as hard as figuring out how to analyze a deal.
So your buddy, as if she doesn't already know this, but Katie Apperson is asking, what is your morning routine?
My specific morning routine?
I guess so.
Honestly, so I check in obviously with the girls, and Katie's been much better these days, so she checks in with us.
Katie.
I literally make a pure green smoothie first thing before coffee. I actually don't drink a lot of coffee anymore. I was becoming really dependent on it. We do that sometimes. I actually sit down and do quiet time. Honestly, I read my Bible. I do Bible study. Sometimes I'll listen to a podcast to kind of just get my energy flowing. If I have a really important task that I know is like I have to send an email or do something, I will.
Specifically the Propelio podcast or the Titanium Vault. Those are really our two.
Exactly. I'll have a whole list of them.
Is the Titanium Tuesdays on Propelio?
Yeah, just knock it out in one go.
Right.
Then we go to the gym together, and then he's got his own routine.
So I wake up before her because our group is kind of like, I kind of feel the need to kind of be the leader there and not the last man to check in. So I'll wake up like 4:30, 4:15, somewhere around there, and then take care of the dog, which we love, Phil, for those of y'all who have met him.
He's painful.
And then I read my Bible, make breakfast, do scripture memory, and then I plan my day. So I write out my goals. And I had to create a planner because I hate all the planners on the market.
He created his own planner.
So I hired a designer or whatever, like a graphic designer, to make a planner for me. And so I go through my planner and fill it all out. Goals, like who I need to talk to today, what's the highest, my highest priority tasks. What am I going to do today to make money? Like what task is going to, who do I need to talk to make money today?
I love that. How do I make money today?
And it's your like focus. If everything else gets distracted under that and you're not doing those things,
there's a couple priority things. The other question I ask myself is, what do I not want to do most? Just to call out my procrastination thing, whatever that is, and then I do that first. Just to get it out of the way so I, get that off my back or whatever.
I love the fact that you ask yourself, what can I do today to make money? Because as entrepreneurs, like, we get so busy.
Yeah.
doing things, responding to
Menial
emails that are
systems.
And all day.
like meaningless. Like
Yeah.
it's just like it doesn't progress your business in any
We
form
think
or
it
fashion.
does.
Right.
It's a way to procrastinate, but you think you're actually progressing,
Right.
but it does nothing for you. It's like designing business cards.
Right.
You know, that's not doing anything
Right.
for you. You know, it's like text them your phone number, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Just straight up
You
like
know,
have a business card. It's like
Yeah.
name, number, email.
yeah,
know,
something.
just
All those
simple.
creative procrastination things that we
Right.
do to kind of, it's self-sabotaging in a sense.
So let me ask you, are you going to have an Etsy store someday soon selling planners?
well,
It's a good one. It's literally, it's Grant Cardone 10X meets
Oh, yeah.
12-week year meets your perfect day. It's really like a complete marriage of all of those
It goes from
things.
4 a.m. to 10
Wow.
p.m. because none
It's
of them,
awesome.
none of them are realistic
I
schedules
want
in
one.
real estate.
How much should I have to pay you for one?
I can send you.
You know,
the-
if you're in with us,
the-
you know, we can give you
Yeah,
one.
get in the club.
Let's see if we can get him selling his planner.
We'll see.
Well,
It
a
might
couple
be coming
girls
up.
have it that are testing it as well.
Drop a comment if you want to get Jason's planner, okay?
And how much
let's-
should it be
Yes.
for this brain on paper? You know?
I'll send you one. I'd like to have your feedback.
There
And
you
one
go.
other aspect about this planner is something called a brain dump at the end of
Oh,
your
yeah.
day, which has been crucial for us because at the end of a day, you have so much going through your brain and you just get it all out on paper before you go to bed. We call it a brain dump.
Yep.
And then you can readdress the next day.
That's
and that's
awesome.
in there.
So you don't
It's cool.
lay in bed and worry about what you have. It's already there.
We sleep much
We're
better
good.
now.
That's funny, and there's also times where I'm sure this is possibly where this came from, where you have that thought, but because of where you are in your day, it's late at night,
Oh, yeah.
you're going to sleep, you're like, oh, I'll deal with that tomorrow.
Right.
And then it's like 10 days later, you're like, that
Yeah.
idea, and it's like you're so frustrated. Then at that point in time, you've wasted 10 days.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly.
For sure.
Melody says, when you do have date nights, do you talk about work or do you have a rule to not talk about
We
work?
are terrible at not talking work.
But we try not to.
We're
It's
so
like-
bad. But I enjoy it and he enjoys it. Like
Right.
when we start talking numbers and ideas, it's kind of energizing for us. We just really like it. But
It
sometimes we'll
depends.
play, what did we go do? We'll go do virtual reality or you have to have us doing something for us not to do it. So
And we try to make a rule, but sometimes it's like we're dealing with stuff going in. Like it's a Wednesday, you know.
Right.
It's like we got people, you know, trying to back out of deals, or you know, inspectors not to, you know, whatever it is. And it's like we're dealing with it, but we really try to cut it off at 6 p.m. But we still got sellers or buyers calling us, texting us, and it's like
I'm the same way, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like when I come home, I try to get home 6:30.
right.
And my son, he goes to bed at 8 now, and it's like, so I've really only got like a 2 hour to an hour and a half like window. And it's like I really try not to do anything work related
Spend
in
that
that
time with
time.
him.
But it's
Yeah.
like last night. I mean, we got a contract on a property that's
Yeah.
literally been on the market for 100+ days.
yeah.
I mean, it's like, oh, praise Jesus!
Yeah,
like,
like, for real.
Like, son, I love you.
We're going
I
to
gotta
dinner.
deal with this.
Sit in
like,
my lap while I
right,
execute
like
this.
if you want, like, if you want to eat next week, like, Dad has got to take care of this, okay? So
Yeah.
I mean,
But that's energizing too sometimes for a couple because we're accomplishing it and then we
Right.
can just put it to bed. So I think it just depends on our day, but we try.
Yeah.
We
But
do take Saturdays off.
I
Yeah.
love how both of my kids really at this point in time, they've like adjusted to it though. I mean, Trinity, every morning he tells me when he leaves, he's like, sell some houses, buy some properties.
I love it.
And I
Yeah.
love how he says it too, like sell houses, buy properties. I don't know if he ever meant that, but I was like,
That's a golden nugget.
I know, yeah,
That's like
a
one of the
golden
days.
nugget.
Yeah.
For his
Sell
son.
houses,
Ryan,
buy
golden
property.
nugget.
That's actually funny.
That's
That's
good.
funny.
Because I was just talking about that. What was the golden nugget?
Sell houses.
Sell houses, buy properties. That's what my 6-year-old he's been saying it since like he was 3 years
Your
old.
nugget?
That's
That is Trinity's golden nugget right
Yeah,
there.
there you go.
So, but he tells me that every morning, and you know it's always stuck with me that he says that. But even when I come home, and he asks me like, "How's your day?" He's like, "Did you sell any houses?" He asked me that. "Did you buy any properties?" And we have these conversations.
I love it.
And so there's
Yeah, that's
times
good.
where it's like work comes in, and he understands that. But I also make it a point, you know, to spend time with him where there is no work, no matter what. And just make that a point. And not only like for you guys, y'all have date night, but it's also important as a parent to do that with your kids. You know?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, but people don't realize the value, though, of bringing your spouse or your partner or your friend or your family into what you're passionate about.
Right.
That's important, too. And so that can be a bonding experience. I always tell people, ask what energizes you and what doesn't energize you, and adjust accordingly.
Yep.
You know, people think we're psycho for doing work all the time. Take a break, and I'm like, but I feel energized. Like, I don't feel drained.
We take one day off.
And we do. We take Saturdays off. A lot of people
Solid
know that about us.
one day.
Sundown Friday, sundown Saturday. Don't call
Nothing.
us. Don't
Yeah,
schedule
nothing.
appointments. We're going to get to you later unless the house is burning down.
I like
Yeah.
that.
That's
That's
just
it.
what we
So,
do.
you know, it's funny you said, you know, bring people into what you're passionate for. So I've tried to convince Trinity to get into real estate investing. He needed more money for a Lego that he wanted, and he had like, I don't know, $50 from like different people just giving him money.
Yeah.
And I was like, why don't you take the $50 and invest it into a property, and I'll pay you more money on top of it, and when I sell the property,
I
you'll
love
get your money.
it.
And he looked at me and he goes, no, I'll invest it into a smaller Lego and then wait for my birthday or Christmas to get the bigger Lego.
That's
and I was
funny.
like, touche, son, you win.
You
Eventually,
know?
We gotta talk about.
He's already looking at hopefully.
eventually you'll get to what I'm talking about. But
That's
Oh well, that's one
funny.
way. You know,
Yeah.
start out where you are. You know.
So Melody
That's
has another
funny.
one. She says, never seems like there's enough time in the day, even if you wake up at 5 a.m. I'm
feel
impressed
that.
and motivated to see all the people on Facebook who are part of the 5 a.m. club.
It's awesome.
I felt like there wasn't enough time at 5 a.m. either, so I started waking up at 4.
So you went in more extreme,
For
but
What
real.
time do you go to sleep, though, if you're waking up that early?
9:30.
9:30?
Yeah.
For both
yeah,
of y'all?
for both of us.
Sometimes 10, but 6.5 hours
He
is
can
fine.
go a little bit later, but yeah, I think you're never going to have enough time. I mean, but you also have to ask yourself, like, do a time check, because it's really easy for us to say that, but you know, really document your day for a week. I'm talking every 15 minutes. What are you doing?
Yep.
Because 15 minutes can be wasted while you're, you know, slowly walking to the fridge to make lunch because you're on Facebook. That's 15
Yep.
minutes, and that stuff adds up. So, you know, before you know, I would just audit yourself.
Yep.
And kind of
I think that's a
learn.
very good point. I've seen some highly successful people talk about the best thing that they've done is they've cut down emails to where they only respond
Yes.
to emails at a
Yeah.
specific time in the
Yep.
day. I don't know about you, but I am like constantly either deleting an email, checking it. It's like a wholesale deal that gets sent to me, and then I'm distracted because I'm running numbers, and it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
you can really get lost in all of the noise around you. So
Yeah.
there's times where you don't feel like you have enough time, really, because you're just distracting yourself.
So we
Exactly.
set up 9 to 12 is work, and then from 12 to 3 is when we'll do our calls. If people, and we've cut back on meeting people with coffee and all that stuff because
Yeah.
it's
We
just-
love you guys.
Yeah, but don't have time. But if we're going to do anything like that, it's from 12 to 3, and then from 3 to 6 or 7 is more work, calls, knocking doors, whatever.
Yeah.
Brian Harper says, unless we were talking about 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., then it's perfectly acceptable to be on Facebook
True.
or YouTube
That's
for
educational.
#Propelio TV.
Yes.
Yes.
That
You're-
is
you're
true.
learning something.
Put it on the background, you know?
That is true.
Have it on while you're doing something.
Specifically talking to all 34 people that are currently watching right now. So,
Thanks for watching.
yeah,
Thank you.
Jay Coleman, he says, great show, guys.
We love
Thanks for
Jay.
the shout out.
Jay's
Yeah.
awesome.
Jay, you really brought the
was just
fire
here.
yesterday, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great stuff. And then Jeremiah says, #life-changing information. So see, there he goes, guys.
Thank
We
you.
hope we can help a little.
I love it because I get the honor to ask people to come on here and drop content, and I get to meet people at the Propelio meetups
Yeah.
and get to know them and follow their journeys, and then have them come on here and share this amazing content. So super glad that you guys made the time to come on
Thank
here
you.
today.
Thank you for having
and
us.
if you
yeah.
guys have advice for us, please
Yeah.
bring it. We'll take it.
Yeah,
So
put it in the
before
comments.
we jump off, if the people that are watching, they want to reach out, contact you, do business with you, what's the best way they can get in touch with you?
Honestly, probably for me, I would say
Probably.
Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook. You know, I like to be able to put a face with the name, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if it's not Facebook starting, That's the best way.
Yeah, just message us that way.
Jason
we
and
can kinda
Casey
see.
Dehle on Facebook. So
What's the name of y'all's company?
Round Grove Properties.
Okay.
Yeah, Round Grove Properties.
So again, guys, remember this is all because of Propelio. I
fearless
can't say
leader.
enough nice things about them. Ryan Harper and Daniel, they continue to impress me. Just this past week, I mean, they helped out Titanium Investments so much. Just in the past week, they're amazing people. If you don't know them, come meet them February 12th here in DFW, or if you're in Phoenix, Arizona, which we are going to try to do everything in our power with Titanium Investments to help Propelio but have a bigger presence out in Phoenix, Arizona, as well as us. I mean, it's funny, I don't think enough people know that both Titanium and Propelio are in Phoenix, Arizona. And so we're going to kind of join forces and try to get our brands out there more in Phoenix. So February 6th, 7th, and 8th is when they're going to be in Phoenix, Arizona, and we'll have more information. I think Ryan already has it on Eventbrite for those events. And then also Titanium Investments is mine and Cassie's company. Would love to have you guys reach out, see ways that you can do business with us. We wholesale, we buy houses, we rent houses. We pretty much do anything that you can think of in real estate investing. So please reach out if you have any opportunities for us. That being said, tune in to the rest of the shows on Propelio TV this week. We got Grant Teach Me Something tomorrow, the Iron Heel show on Thursday. I know we have the Heels Off show, which if you have not tuned in, they're now doing a recap show of all of the episodes for Propelio TV across the week. Great content there.
You also have Russ Keith at 5 o'clock on Wednesday.
Russ Keith now has a show on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock. We just have shows all the time. So.
All the
Whalen
time.
on Friday.
And Sean
Oh,
Whalen,
that'll be good.
which if you don't know who Sean Whalen is, his book is How to Get Shit Done, How to Make Shit Happen, something like that. Something about making shit happen. And he's an awesome guy. I'm sure that's going to be an interview to remember right there on Friday with Ryan Harper. All right, guys, that's our show for today. We'll see y'all next week.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm Ryan with Propelio. If you like what you saw, please subscribe. Turn on those notifications and stick around for more. We have tons of content like this all over our channel. So if you want to learn more about real estate investing, stick around, watch Propelio TV, and we'll see you later.